Hello, hello, and welcome to the Continuity Report, Season 1, Episode 1 for January 7th, 2024. This show is all about movies and TV shows and internet-based streaming platforms, the content therein. I aggregate, or I should say, ohmtown.com aggregates a bunch of news, and the AI, the sentient AI, and I go through. Well, this show is weekly, so we go through it weekly. And that's really just adding a little bit of color to it. We go through it daily, and we find interesting articles throughout the week for our daily show, ohmTown Daily. And we aggregate the aggregation into today's show. The Continuity Report covers a week. Every Sunday, 7 p.m. is the desired start time, but sometimes ohmTown Daily runs a little longer. Today we're starting at about 7:30. That said, if you miss the show or you can't hang out beyond, 7:30 after ohmTown Daily is over, you can always watch this as a VOD here on Twitch or go over to YouTube and download or watch it, I should say, over there. Eventually, this will be turned into a podcast as well. Just search for the Continuity Report. Eventually, I'll announce when it's actually live. The same thing with Reality Hacker. It'll be converted into a podcast in short order. At any rate, we've already selected all 10 of today's articles. You'll notice that they're aggregated from one site in particular for most of it, because we evaluate a lot of sites, but not all of them rise to the occasion in terms of appropriateness or context or their focus or a bunch of other psychographics. And I'm not really, we're not that critical of it, but there isn't necessarily, we want information, not just opinion. We don't want noise, we want news. And so we add our own noise to it in our own context.
That's right. If there's going to be noise, it's coming from us.
That's exactly what I hoped you'd say. If the news is gonna fall in its face, we're the one.
It's gonna be all on us.
We're the one that's tripping it. Anyway, so we've already gathered up all 10 of the articles. I think that this is going to be a fun show, if not just for the news, but for the snark and the commentary. Yeah, you want to get into it?
That sounds great.
Okay, just like Reality Hacker, I'm not going to do transitions. Maybe at the far end, I'm going to do the outro as like we did last time. It is an ohmTown show. It is powered by ohmtown.com. But it doesn't have its intro bumper or outro specific to the Continuity Report yet, but I'm working on it. That said, let's just go. The very first article is over again in the Continuity Report, like all of these articles, so I may actually just not mention that anymore, because today is the Continuity Report. All of our news is aggregated from that, unless it has some special consideration that we've drawn from the general aggregation feed. So the follow-up to this $495.7 million box office hit is 2024's weirdest sequel movie, Twister. Did not see this coming. Made nearly $500 million at the box office when it debuted in 1996. And its official follow-up, Twisters, which sounds like, I don't know, the follow-up to Hooters, might be the 2024 strangest sequel set to release. A movie about a team of storm chasers in the rural Midwest may sound like it remained relevant due to cult classic status, but that wasn't the case. The movie starring Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton was a hit from the start, earning over $495 million at the box office, becoming the year's second highest grossing movie of 1996, coming only behind Independence Day, which basically Will Smith slapped some aliens like he did Chris Rock.
Too soon.
Oh God, I just snorted on a... Now I'm worried about the rest of the show. Twister even did better than the first Mission Impossible, which I find...
Okay, that's surprising.
Yeah, surprising, right? So Kara Hadesh over at Screen Rant put the article together. We have cows. Because in the movie Twister, a cow floats by their vehicle in the tornado. So yeah, Twisters is a sequel to Twister. It's set for release in 2024 and is one of the most anticipated movies of the year. So who's going to be in it? I don't know. The movie starring Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton was a hit. That's Twister. Arrival of Twisters
You can't have the same people. Not as the leads.
They're both alive.
Well, I understand that, but they might be a different generation now.
It's one of 2024's most anticipated movies. Follows a trend with a year packed with sequel installments. Great. Everything old is new again. The year will see new sequels to long-running franchises like Ghostbusters, Planet of the Apes, Bad Boys, Alien, Karate Kid. However, the 2024 year is a first-time sequels for popular original movies like Beetlejuice 2, Gladiator 2, and now Twister 2. No. Nay. Twisters. Like aliens. Soon it's going to be Hurricane versus Twister, where they duke it out on the coast, maybe wipe out Florida or maybe bottom of Georgia. Anyway, however, so what's going on here? What do you think that they're going to be back? You say nay.
I don't think they'll be back in the leads. Maybe they'll be back like as ancillary characters or something.
So before Twisters was announced, a remake of the original was considered. This is all from the article, by the way. I'm just quoting little bits of the article. And the concept, which was co-created with David Diggs, was meant to focus on storm chasers from HBCU, but the studio had no interest. Instead, Twisters will feature a new cast with Daisy Edgar Jones said to be playing the daughter of Hunt and Paxton's characters alongside the cast Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos, Kiernan Shipka, and David Coruscant. I went straight to Star Wars. David Coruscant. Corin Sweat. Jeez. Mayor, what? Is your head broken? Hey, let me throw this into the chat real quick. If you're hanging out.
Maybe it got all twisted up.
Yeah, I got all twisters up in the game. So while there's still a loyal fandom when it comes to the 1996 Twisters and what it did for the storm chasing and meteorology communities. Sorry. I'm making my own twist on this. It's difficult to predict whether Twisters will find the same success. I just don't know. I don't know what preceded Twister to make it so fun. Right?
I don't know if anything did. Like, was that the first movie of that type? Probably.
Huh. Like, there wasn't a big event or anything like that around 96? Was there a big, like, Hurricane
like
Alley kind of thing?
Tornado?
Or Tornado Alley?
I'm not sure. I can look, but it'll take me too long to find it.
This is definitely ensconced in the breadbasket of the United States. It's not a hurricane. It's tornadoes. So Hunt may very well cameo as Joe, despite any announcements, especially if Twisters is centered on the character's daughter. Still, Twister sequel might be without Paxton, who passed away. Oh, yeah, Paxton passed away in 2017. So I guess that is, well, AI is pretty powerful. Anyway, Powell clarified that Twister 2 is more of a standalone story, reiterating the notion that Twisters won't be much of a legacy sequel. Okay, cool.
So interestingly, there was a very long tornado
Season?
outbreak in 1995. Nearly 300 tornadoes.
Interesting. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'll end up watching this. But I have no alignment or desire to watch a Twisters movie, but I'll watch it, particularly for the continuity report, because this is a longitudinal study between did they keep stuff and make callbacks from the original Twister into Twisters.
Oh yeah, maybe we can do like a double feature.
There you go. Like a double twist kind of a thing, right? Okay. Let's go on to the next article. This next article is over in the continuity report as well. 12 best modern sitcoms that redefine the genre. Hey, look, if you're not here for the audible flubs, I don't know why you're here.
They redefined it so much, they're called something.
They're called sitcoms. Yep. Sitcoms have been undergoing significant change in the past few years thanks to some shows that push the limits of the format. Traditional sitcoms tend to revolve around one of three things. There are workplace sitcoms, family sitcoms, and friendship sitcoms. Each of these subgenres have been experimented with and subverted in recent years, and this has produced shows which are both hilarious and unprecedented. I guarantee you, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is in this.
I'm guessing Schitt's Creek is on here.
And The Office. Okay, so let's see if our predictions hold true. So Ben Prothero. Wow, that last name is Shakespearean in nature.
Exactly. It doesn't really sound like a modern name.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Anyway, so the deck statement says some of the best sitcoms in recent years are helping tear up the rule book, and their revolutionary approaches are good news for comedy fans. I agree. Shows like Modern Family, Ted Lasso, The Good Place have pushed the boundaries and brought diversity and new storytelling techniques to the sitcom genre. Sitcoms like Auntie Donna's Coffee Cafe and What We Do in the Shadows showcase absurdity and genre parody while still delivering side-splitting humor. I've tried to get into What We Do in the Shadows, and I can't. I have never seen Auntie Donna's Coffee Cafe.
I haven't even heard of that.
These have to be UK. I mean, they are. They have to be both. Have to be UK. So let's see what's going on here. They talk about workplace and family and friendship sitcoms. Modern Family is number 12, the classic family sitcom updated for the 21st century. I think that the show was fun, but never really stayed with it. And it's kind of, I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up going back and binge watching all of this because Arrested Development just kind of...
Oh, right. That should be on here.
Right. That should, yeah. It basically upended my belief, that some of these shows that I would watch, I didn't have an affinity for, but then years later I end up watching it and I'm like, my God, I actually love this show. But when I was younger, I wouldn't have gotten it. I just didn't care about the context of that show. Now, I think it's hilarious. But Modern Family, I watched a few episodes when it was just kicking off, but I didn't stay into it. So family sitcoms are nothing new. They've become most prevalent types of sitcoms since shows like The Brady Bunch first gained popularity. The show presents a more diverse definition of family life with divorce, same-sex marriage, adoption, and other things that break genre conventions. This is, for lack of a better term, it is the modern family and a different nuclear dynamic. It's not the same thing anymore. Mainly because we're moving away from the sociopathic upbringing. There was in the 60s and earlier, 50s, 40s, post Depression era child rearing was actually through researchers and academics that were researching child rearing and the psychology of children and the parent-child dynamic. It detached humanity. And so people weren't getting hugs. They weren't being told, I love you. They weren't given options. They were basically told, this is what you're going to go do. And we've broken out of that dynamic primarily because of upbringing and opportunity. Now, not everybody benefits from this new dynamic. But that is what has changed between the generations prior to me and generations that have come since me. And frankly, I think that the world is better for it if everybody would just get along. But hey, that's probably the most idiotic statement that I'll ever make in terms of some people's perception of my statements. I think it's the most humane and humanistic thing to say, which is, why can't we all just get along? Don't worry, I'm not so naive that I think a hug is going to solve all of the problems, but for crying out loud, I think a lot of people out there on the planet need some damn hugs. So then number 11 is Detectorists, a friendship sitcom about middle-aged hobbyists, metal detectorists.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of that one.
I've never seen this. Two middle-aged friends meet up to use their metal detectors in a field in England, so this has to be a UK show. And frankly, I love British TV. I really do. The humor and the only issue that I have is idiomatic humor. I don't get it because I don't have the context. And so I would have to do some due diligence, rewatch the show, and then go, oh, haha, that's funny because. So Lance and Andy find solace in the romantic past, if only to ignore the divorce and financial troubles of their present. So, yeah, I kind of get that. Ted Lasso, this was huge. I don't know if it actually is over yet. A goofy antidote to modern cynicism.
Looks like it went to 2023.
Yeah, okay. So it just wasn't renewed. Ted Lasso deconstructs testosterone-fueled locker room culture and proposes an alternative vision of a world where everyone is a little more thoughtful. I think that's great. I don't know. I've never watched a single episode of this, but we'll have to give it a look-see for the continuity report. The Good Place ran from 2016 to 2020. I loved every episode of this show. A relatable sitcom about the complex machinations of the universe. It was a humorous Lost. So,
interesting. I wouldn't have connected it with that.
Because they all were doing something, but you didn't know what the actual rationale was. It pivoted halfway through. I think there was a smoke monster somewhere in this as well. Actually, the equivalent of the smoke monster was the android that would just pop up out of nowhere. The robot, the I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't either.
And then they kept on resetting her, and she would evolve. And anyway, you have to go and watch The Good Place. It was a lot of fun because The Good Place isn't really what you think it is.
Janet.
Yeah, Janet was a computer. So across its 4 seasons, she and other characters change dramatically. Sitcoms are so often predicated on the idea that everything stays the same for the next week's episode, but The Good Place uses a serialized drama format for hilariously goofy comedy. I don't know about that. Everything stays the same. I don't think that really happens in sitcoms, does it? I mean, they always evolve a little bit.
There's evolution, but then like the backdrop is always the same.
Well,
You know, like if they're always meeting in the same location or
right.
I don't know, things
Yeah.
like that. I'm thinking of the Big Bang Theory where they had the mealtime in every
All
episode.
the time. Yeah. Parks and Recreation ran from 2009 to 2015. Never watched any of it. And then I started hearing about struggles and stuff like that. But they mentioned Schitt's Creek in this. Parks and Recreation is part of the industry-wide shift toward small-town sitcoms, along with shows like The Office and Schitt's Creek. The show also uses a similar mockumentary format to The Office. Auntie Donna's Coffee Cafe, just the name alone is making me want to watch this. Python-esque Australian absurdity. So it's Australian. So I'm going to love everything about this. Australian sketch comedy troupe Auntie Donna expanded their international reach with their Netflix show Auntie Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun, but their next TV project refines their chaotic style. So Auntie Donna's Coffee Cafe. All about a trendy Melbourne cafe. Sorry, not coffee, but cafe. I would buy that. Auntie Donna's coffee from Australia. I wonder. Think it'll have a little bit of bite and try and kill me?
Absolutely.
BoJack
the most
Horseman.
dangerous coffee ever.
Oops. Sorry to step on you like that. Number 6 is BoJack Horseman. A journey into the depths of human, equine, and trauma. Never watched a single episode of this. I don't know if I can muster the strength. As much as I like anime, cartoon, TV shows. I don't know. It might be a little... I'll have to take a look at it, you know. Let's see here. It says, as the show progresses, it focuses less on what celebrities would be called if they were animals and more on the complex tangle of trauma and unreachable corners of the protagonist's soul. Yeah. I want a sitcom because it's a situation comedy. I don't want to kind of troll through
dragged down
trauma. Yeah. Community. Let me speed up a little bit about this. They talk about Ghosts, which actually has come and gone. To me, it's come and gone. I don't know if it's going to get renewed or if it's been canceled, but I started watching this. I thought it was interesting in concept, but then it just faded away from my radar. Ghosts is a wry lampooning of British cultural pride and innate human foibles. But as the show progresses, it adds some depth to the wackiness of the inhabitants of Button House. So they have like nearly headless Nick here. In what looks like a Cub Scout troop. Whatever. What do they call him? Leader. Yeah. and there were some riffs off of the historical stuff, like two people that were in two different eras of conflict would like riff off of each other and stuff. I thought it was kind of entertaining, the couple of episodes, because there are living people within this establishment. It's like a bed and breakfast or something like that, if I remember right, an English manor. So anyway, let's keep on going. Then there's Veep. What We Do in the Shadow is this, as far as I understand it, it's a remaking of something. So here it says there aren't many TV adaptations of popular movies which achieve the same level of success as the original, but What We Do in the Shadows may have even surpassed Taika Waititi's movie. Despite it involving none of the same characters and being set in a different continent, What We Do in the Shadows retains some of the side-splitting humor. Have you ever seen What We Do in the Shadows?
No.
Okay, we'll have to watch it. I own it, so... and then Fleabag, which I've only heard of. I've heard like amazing things about it, but I couldn't get past the name alone. Confident and stylish and hinged on one unforgettable protagonist. Fleabag massively shook up British sitcoms. There have been many imitators, but none of them yet managed to recreate Phoebe Waller-Bridge's idiosyncratic, pithy dialogue. The show's constant fourth wall breaking takes a meta twist in the second season. But I have been told nothing but good things about Fleabag. It says Fleabag only aired 2 seasons, enough to be binged in a single day, but its impact will last for years.
See, that's a change from TV in the past, right? Where there were multiple episodes.
Yeah, so back when Big Bang Theory ended, which isn't that far back, I think their last episode was 2017, right?
2019, I think.
2019. Oh, I'll have to look again. Wow. So it wasn't that long ago that a sitcom had 24 episodes. And now there's 8. It forces creativity and diversity. But what I want is immersion. I want to swim around in the umami that is the 24 episode seasons. And I just won't get it. Now I get nothing more than an appetizer each season. A little bit of edamame instead of a whole lot of umami. It is what it is. I'll cope, and I'll cope by moving on to the next article and watching a whole bunch of shows. The next article is over in the continuity report. I cannot wait for this to happen. If it does happen, oh my god, I'm going to be in love. Naked Gun Reboot gets confident update from Seth MacFarlane after 2 years of development. What is this sci-fi thing?
The Orville.
The Orville. It went over to Hulu as far as I know, and then I don't know where it ended up. And I stopped following it because I really don't like Hulu. I'm going to have to end up watching Hulu because of something else we're going to talk about, but
yes.
Whatever.
So maybe you can catch up on the Orville while you're over there.
Yeah, if it's still there. I don't remember if it's still there. Well, 2 years after having passed since he first joined the project, Seth MacFarlane has a promising update for the Naked Gun Reboot. Yes! Leslie Nielsen has passed away, but I've always loved the slapstick officer of Naked Gun. Acting as a spin-off of the spoof comedy The Police Squad, Leslie Nielsen led comedies revolved around a hapless detective investigating a series of major crimes in Los Angeles. Police Squad was hilarious. Naked Gun was movies, as far as I know, nothing else. After years of attempts to produce a 4th movie, the Naked Gun Reboot, which I hope isn't Gunn.
I think that's a typo.
Was announced in the works in 2013. Initially with Ed Helms starring, though after nearly a decade of development hell, MacFarlane came on board to produce the Liam Neeson starring. Are you kidding me? And the Lonely Island's Akiva. Oh my god, really? So Grant Hermans over at Screen Rant put the article together. Akiva Schaffer's background in satire and comedy, including his success in reviving old properties, suggests that the new Naked Gun will likely stack up well against its predecessors. I don't want just a movie. I want Police Squad. I want a series, long-running. Frank Drebin was amazing.
Maybe if this is a hit, they'll reboot Police Squad. Or a TV show of the Naked Gun.
Yeah, I hope so. MacFarlane's collaboration with Liam Neeson in past projects showcases the actor's strength in comedy, adding weight to his casting as Drebin Jr. in the reboot. Liam Neeson as Drebin Jr.? How old is Liam Neeson?
I thought MacFarlane was going to be Drebin Jr.
Well, wait, MacFarlane's collaboration? Is MacFarlane going to be the Drebin?
It's
Liam
not
Neeson?
written very clearly. I don't know.
Okay, so we're going to have to pull this up and actually Seth MacFarlane has a promising update for the Naked Gun reboot. I thought he's the writer. He came on board to produce with Liam Neeson starring.
Well, McFarlane produces and acts in the Orville, for
Right.
example, so that's
Right.
why I thought that might be possible.
Yeah. So despite much radio silence in the year Schaefer was hired, the producer confirmed that the movie is not only still very much alive, but that he's very excited about the latest draft of the script for the movie. Check out what MacFarlane shared below, and then there's some information. It's being worked on as we speak. Akiva Schaffer, who's written the draft with his team, has done a hell of a job, and it's in development. So it's still very much alive. Yes. So, however, one of the more notable examples is that of the Orville, which began partly as a spoof of Star Trek, but before evolving into a more sincere sci-fi adventure show exploring trenchant themes. It actually ended, like the season that I last saw was the Robot Takeover. So, yeah, this will be interesting. A Million Ways to Die in the West was panned. Some people loved it, other people really hated it. Multiple cameos.
Oh, and you're right. Liam Neeson will be in the role of Drebin Jr.
Gotcha. How old is Liam Neeson? Does it say in there? I mean, oh no.
I don't know, but I don't think he's really young.
What's going on here? Oh wow. Yeah, so this just locked
71.
me out. This just locked me out. So I'm gonna go on to the next article. There's like a big ad, but I'm not gonna log in while we're streaming. So let's go on. This next article is all of Reacher's 7 rules in the Amazon TV show explained. We've actually talked about this in a previous episode. Kate Bove
of Ohmtown Daily, not of Continuity Report.
Yeah, this is the inaugural episode of the Continuity Report, so of course we haven't talked about this. So let's talk about the 7 rules of all 7 of Reacher's rules in the Amazon TV show explained. Kate Bove is the author. If it pops up that pop-up again, then I'll just have to... We'll figure something out. But anyway. So if you've never seen Reacher, it's in season 2. Season 3 is already set to start.
And that one will be in like late 2025 or early 2026. So it's going to be now's a good time to catch up on 1 and 2.
Yeah, now's a really good time. So who's the author of the series? Lee, right? But what's his first name?
Lee Child.
Lee Child. Oh, last name.
That's his first name.
Yeah, Lee Child is the author. And the 2 seasons that exist right now are from 2 different books, spaced very far apart. So I hope that this doesn't come across like a Firefly and they show everything out of order and it doesn't make any sense because there's no continuity between one book and the next, right? So in-jokes that exist in season 2 don't exist in book 2 because this is book whatever. They're actually 8 books apart from each other in the stack of Reacher books, which is now like 31. There's a lot of Reacher content here. This is spectacular too. So they better move quick because I really dig this character being driven by this particular actor. I think it's Alan Ritchson. Yeah. So they say assumptions kill. This has been a statement that has been said again and again and again. And it always bounces off of each other. Like Reacher will sit there and say something and then somebody else will say, well, assumptions kill. And so this is one of the rules. Totally get it, right? Because this is about Reacher's rules. So assumptions kill. And this is one that had been stated several times. They talk about doing an investigation in the history of the team. They actually form a team to do special investigations. They're referred to as special investigators. Nobody messes with the special investigators, right? And that's kind of a foreshadowing for this list. Then number 6 is in an investigation, details matter. And so the reason why they found out about something happening while they were special investigators was because somebody was looking at the weights of material that was being flown around the world, and something wasn't right. And it was off by a small amount in terms of weight in the grand total of things. But when you look at it, how did this weight disappear between here and here? Something was up. They investigated it. It turns into something. So in an investigation, details matter. Yep, I agree. The first shot better be your best shot. This actually comes about when Reacher and the team first meet. And one of the special investigators is this elderly guy or older gentleman, but he's the best shot out of all of them. But people were talking smack, and Reacher sets the record straight. And I believe the whole quote is, "Your first shot better be your best shot," and that's why I have that guy. And I can't remember his name, but
I don't either. There's also the other character that claims to be a great shot, but apparently he had like a lucky shot, but it was well timed.
Yeah, it was really well timed. So number 4 is leave me and my friends alone. I leave you alone. This is actually not, he actually calls it a rule, but the only time it's ever uttered is in that bar. So,
I mean, they utilize it, but they don't say it often.
Right. Essentially, this is like a standing rule that will only be uttered if somebody starts talking shit. No possessions other than a toothbrush. That is a rule. It makes it light for him to relocate. In one of the scenes, he goes, one of his compatriots says, "Have you unpacked?" And he takes his toothbrush out of his jacket pocket and sets it on the counter. Yep. And then they go out. Sleep when you can. That popped up in season 2 as well. And I can't remember the context of it. So he says, while he spends a lot of time on Greyhound buses and park benches, the former MP officer, military police officer, also ends up in plenty of less than comfortable situations. An action hero running on empty would be lucky to get a shot off at all, is something that he says in this. I can't remember
something where they were in a scene where there was about to be some action, like in the next 10 minutes, but like he leaned back to take a nap in the car.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was. That's a bummer that they don't actually say this, that they don't describe where it was.
Right.
It doesn't say it, right?
No, it doesn't. This one just talks about it generally, but doesn't have a good example.
Yeah. And so number 1 is Jack Reacher's Rules book by Lee Child Explained. There actually is a book out there, a 152-page tome written by from the perspective of Reacher, called Jack Reacher's Rules. It's penned by Lee Child. It's from 2012. If you find a copy of it, a legit copy, I would like it. And it looks like it would be a blast. When in doubt, drink coffee. Never volunteer for anything. This is something that I learned when I was on a dive boat. At the time, I would have qualified as a dive master. So I was actually working on getting my dive master certification. And I was told by a dive master, if they ask if anybody is a dive master, you say no. That way the boat's dive master is the one that's in charge and they can't pawn it off on anybody, and there's nobody else that has liability. I thought that was really hilarious, and I'm like, oh, okay. So needless to say, I end up being buddied up with somebody that I had little experience and really compared to the other people that were on the boat, except for a few other people. And I get paired up with somebody that basically loses their mind when they got tangled in seaweed. Whatever. So I ended up basically being the responsible party on the dive. So never volunteer for anything. Show them what they're messing with. That's right. When you first go to the preschool, as a toddler, you aim straight for the biggest one and you just take them out to show your dominance. You show them what they're messing with, and people mess with me at their own risk. And you know why? It's because he doesn't hit soft. That's it. He doesn't hit soft.
That's right. He did tell us that, but he also, well, no, one of his team members said something like,
"Why'd you
hands
hit
are
him so
for
hard?"
helping, not hitting.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Hands are for helping, not hitting. And the Reacher is basically the size of the building that they're sitting in, for crying out loud. Anyway, I want this book. Lee Child penned a book called Jack Reacher's Rules, a 152-page tome written from the perspective of Reacher. Okay, so let me throw that into the... I didn't throw that into the chat. Did I throw... We're in number 4. I didn't throw any of those. Jeepers. Here's number 3. Here's number 4. We're going to go on to number 5. Let's see. 8 movies we're worried about at the box office in 2024. 2024 is shaping up to be another big year for the global box office with great new releases, but here's some that could be in danger of flopping. Again, this is over at Screen Rant. Ben Gibbons is the author. I urge you to go over to all of these. We post the little snippet and we kind of talk about this thing from our perspective, but there's always minutia in this that you can only glean from going over and reading this. So I hope that we tease you enough to draw you into going over to these links, and you don't just rely on us. Because, hey, we might miss something, and we invite you to come back and, show us where we're wrong. With moviegoers clearly willing to venture out to the cinema for the latest releases, the total box office figures once again are climbing, but despite a varied release of new movies coming in 2024, some movies may fail to hit their target. So let's take a look. Argylle. Argylle starring Henry Cavill as the international super spy with a distinct haircut, and Bryce Dallas Howard as the writer with the mysterious ability to write real-life events, is releasing in February. I've seen the trailer for this. I love the idea of it. They basically think that she's prescient, and they're either trying to take her out or to save her so that she can write whatever is going to happen in the future.
It looks like a lot of fun.
I think so too. But for whatever reason, I cannot get over Henry Cavill. The energy that he gives off makes me queasy, and I don't know if it's just me, but I'm calling it now. At some point, I don't even want to say it. He's a hero to everybody right now because of his demeanor about Warhammer 40k, and that he's the Witcher, and now he's going to be this Argylle, which I think is actually the cat or something. Anyway,
he's also up for like the next James Bond, but I don't think he's gonna get it.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna stay out of all of that, but at least for now, when we start talking about that kind of stuff, we'll end up talking about it. But the movie is an original IP with more moviegoers opting to see established franchises. Argylle needs to do more to attract an audience, and that's kind of the thing. It needs to be some serious writing, seriously good writing, and I actually liked the trailer that I saw. So definitely go over to the link, and did I throw it in there? No, I didn't. God, Mayor Watt, you're such a dumbass. So yeah, go over and watch it. It's in the show notes. It's in the VOD. It'll be in the show notes. Lisa Frankenstein is something that I actually want to see as well. Coming out just before Valentine's Day, although the movie is being marketed as a horror rom-com, it could struggle to find the right audience. I do agree, because it looks like it's Madonna as Lisa Frankenstein. And, maybe a mix between Madonna and, what's her name? Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah, Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper.
That's what I was going to say before you said that.
So the movie would certainly fit with the new October release with other Halloween season movies, but whether stars Catherine Newton and Cole Sprouse could draw the audience to see the self-proclaimed coming-of-age story, because she basically builds a boyfriend. reimagining of the classic Frankenstein story. Then there's Madam Web. That's coming in February. It's going to be a busy year. So February already appears to be a dense month for potentially large releases. Madam Web, by the way, is all about a person who seemingly has the ability to connect a whole bunch of people together. But there's some incident that's going to take place, and I don't recall all of the trailer, so I'm going to have to watch the trailer again, and we'll end up talking about it, I'm sure. Because it doesn't really say anything in it, right? It just says it appears that they're hoping for Madam Web to finally change that. The film will finally see the introduction of actual spider-powered characters and introduce a younger version of Uncle Ben. But there's something else that's going on with this. It's not just the Spider-Man universe stuff. There's something else in this. She gathers a whole bunch of people together, if I'm remembering this trailer right. So, then number 5 in this list is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. This is probably the most difficult one for me in terms of the Ghostbuster franchise, because basically a deep freeze attacks New York. And it's so, how do I describe it?
I just don't see the connection of that to the original franchise
in any way. And like the other movies, there was some undercurrent of metaphysical woo-woo out there. But this is, everything starts to freeze. It's so overt and in your face. I have a hard time really buying into it. I'm not immersed. Afterlife managed to earn a respectable $200 million on a budget of $75 million via the numbers. We should probably add that to our aggregator. But to keep the franchise going, Frozen Empire needs to earn even more, considering the fact that the movie is releasing on the same day as a family-friendly Kung Fu Panda 4 and the potentially more intriguing older audience's Mickey 17 starring Robert Pattinson and directed by Bong Joon-ho. Frozen Empire could struggle. I think it's really going to struggle because there isn't any mystery. This thing starts happening, everybody starts freezing, and they start investigating and trying to solve the problem. But it isn't like this mysterious undercurrent. Even in Afterlife, there was something that was oozing through the land side,
Exactly.
There was a mystery. I just don't feel this. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I won't even get into this, but it's basically another evolutionary step. Har har. That's my words, not theirs. In the kingdom, in the cinematic universe of the Planet of the Apes, and there isn't really much more to it. Again, it's just one more step in the kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and if you buy into it, then you buy into it. But I don't know. This is like the long tail of a franchise that's been around for such a long time that I don't know how well it's going to do. In addition to the last entry, War for the Planet of the Apes saw a marked decrease in earnings from the previous one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. The movie will also move beyond Caesar, the central protagonist, which is the one... It's the ape that evolved first. Caesar was the first one that started teaching the others how to communicate and how to empower themselves. They were just more, animal, but then Caesar started teaching them sign language and then speaking eventually. Not to mention tools and how to stand up for themselves and pick locks and stuff like that. So the movie will move beyond Caesar, which may cause another drop in the viewers. Yeah, because there's no person to identify with. There's no creature to identify with. Alien Romulus. This is just getting further and further afield from the Alien franchise itself. Maybe it'll come back. I don't know. Alien Covenant was kind of meh and really obscure. But it had now Alien Romulus has new cast, new director, takes the franchise in a new direction, which may be enough for viewers to reignite the spark of intrigue. But it's so convoluted now, like Alien versus Predator and all of that kind of stuff. I'm like, man, whatever. Alien and the second one, Aliens, just kind of freaked me the hell out, and it was a blast to watch. Everything since then has just been kind of meh, for crying out loud. These big old ships rolling on their side like a hula hoop chasing after a human being was probably the goofiest thing in Covenant that I've ever seen. Then Kraven the Hunter. I don't know how this is going to be received. Back to the SSU. Kraven the Hunter is finally being released in August 2024 after being hinted at and rumored over the many years. The movie will star Aaron Taylor Johnson as the titular Kraven and will explore his mission to become the greatest hunter in the world, and the movie has a lot of promise. But as with Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Morbius, the SSU has yet to take off. So I guess we'll see what this actually ends up doing.
How does it connect to Spider-Man?
They're all written into that same sphere, so that's what the SSU is. Spider-Man.
I had to look it up. I didn't know what that was.
Sony Spider-Man
universe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I don't know how they're like. I'm not much into comics so much as I'm into the movies and the world building within that. The cinematic universe doesn't necessarily follow precisely the comic universe. You have to get really close, but if all you do is follow the comics, then people really aren't all that interested because I can go read the comics. But it does draw people in. But I don't know how they're all tied together. I'm sure in the comics, Kraven decides to go hunt Spider-Man. So I don't know. We'll see. The movie released a 3-minute trailer. This delay alone could cost the film dearly in marketing expenses. It was pushed back. And then Venom 3, which is nothing more than one more Venom. Venom is kind of an anti-hero, a symbiotic, what do you want to call it? It's a symbiotic entity that attaches to anybody, enhances their abilities, but it's a sentient symbiotic creature. Again, it's basically an anti-hero. It does really bad stuff, but ends up for good purposes, at the end of the day. And it's the final entry in the Venom trilogy, putting the series to an end. It's just, I don't know. The first film in the series was released in 2018 and managed to earn an impressive $856 million against a $116 million budget. I'm sure most of that money was in computing, the special effects. So pretty cool. But yeah, I would rather this all be under MCU and not balkanized. Some world building within Sony's vision, with an attempt to make money versus the Marvel Cinematic Universe under Disney with one comprehensive, cogent world building exercise. Arguably, I don't know. Let's keep on going.
Seems like the fans would like that better.
Yeah, you would think, but a lot of people just don't like Disney either. So, okay, so let's keep on going. The continuity report: 8 John Wick replacement movies that are currently in the works. I'm going to run through these pretty darn quick. Let's do this. So this is over at Screen Rant as well. Micah Bailey with John Wick Chapter 5 in development. The stage is perfectly set for other interesting action movie franchises to fill the void in the meantime. I can almost guarantee that I've already heard of all of these, but I'm just going to hurry up and get through this. Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, Christian Gudegas, sequel to his 2018 thriller Den of Thieves, is slated for release sometime in 2024. Did I throw this into? Yeah. So these are all movies that are supposed to take the place of John Wick's. Well, your interest in John Wick, because it's going to end. John Wick is going to end. Then there's The Beekeeper. David Ayers, The Beekeeper, sees Jason Statham on the quest for revenge against a corrupt corporation. There was a trailer for this, if I recall correctly. I thought I had seen it. Oh, no. I'm conflating it with another one. So Statham's upcoming The Beekeeper sees the action star as Mr. Clay, a highly skilled individual, formerly of the secret organization known as the Beekeepers, as he embarks on a one-man quest for vengeance against an evil corporation. Sounds good to me. Then what seems to be the reboot of The Fall Guy. David Leitch's action movie sees Ryan Gosling as in an action-packed adventure to find a missing A-list actor. The Fall Guy sees Ryan Gosling as a retired stuntman named Colt Seavers, who pulled back into the world of Hollywood after an A-list star goes missing from a blockbuster movie that his ex-girlfriend is directing. This is kind of... What was that movie where the writer and the guy goes out into... what's the movie where she's a cop, but she has to dress up like a debutante kind of a thing, and where she kind of what is that called?
It's well, it has Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. What is that movie? The one where she ends up like working with a
Miss Congeniality.
Yeah, so that's Miss Congeniality, but she was in another movie where she ends up on a desert island because of her writing or something like that. And that's kind of how this is, but it's a movie.
It's not the one with Cameron Diaz like that?
No, I don't think it was Cameron Diaz.
No, I'm thinking of a different one.
Yeah. Anyway, so The Fall Guy looks like to be a self-reflexive action-adventure journey. This is all stuff that the author of this article is writing. So
sorry, The Lost City.
Yeah, The Lost City. Because she wrote about the Lost City in her book. And that's kind of, it seems like that's how this is. You know, somebody ends up missing and then they draw somebody out to go and get the missing person, and it turns into a rom-com kind of a thing. Number 5 is Nobody 2. I didn't even know that there was a Nobody. Let's keep on going. Rainbow
Nobody
6.
knew there was a Nobody.
Yeah. Rainbow 6 is what, spin-off of the game? Which is a spin-off of the novel. Which I think is
Tom Clancy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Based on the Tom Clancy novel of the same name. Without Remorse sees Jordan as John Kelly, an elite Navy SEAL who finds himself as part of a larger political conspiracy. I think we've seen trailers for this. I don't know. I'm not really into like war movies and stuff like that, but I guess it depends on what the tone and nature of this.
Right. If it's more thriller, it might be worth seeing. But if it's just kind of a
I've seen
battle movie or whatever.
A lot of movies and a lot of shows like Band of Brothers and stuff, and I don't know. I'm not always really into that kind of stuff. So Ghost of Tsushima is a movie adaptation of the 2020 Sucker Punch Productions video game. Set in the 18th century Japan, Jin Sakai must master the way of the ghost fighting style to defend Tsushima Island from invading Mongol forces. That's the nuts and bolts of this one. The Highlander reboot, which I think would be great. Again, we see Henry Cavill involved in this.
Is he everywhere?
He seems to be everywhere, but I mean, he's made a shit ton of money and is utilizing it. And he is kind of like your bro. He's like a bro nerd because he can kick your ass in a bar fight, but then he can fix your computer if somebody fell on it.
That's a weird combination.
So, and then when everything is done, he'll boot up his computer and play Warhammer 40K. He's an anomaly. So I don't know what's going on here. It's like somebody experimented with genetics and out popped Superman. So he's like the nerd Superman. Anyway, so Christopher Lambert as Connor MacLeod, the immortal Scottish swordsman on a quest to defeat his fellow immortal opponents and claim what is known as the prize. The minimal details available regarding the movie's plot details the Highlander reboots will star Henry Cavill as and is yet another one of Stahelski's projects under his belt. Despite the lack of details regarding the Highlander reboot future, Stahelski's already proven to be the best director for the new franchise with his work on the John Wick series. So yeah, that I've always loved Highlander. If they don't get this right, it will kill the franchise. So I hope they do it right. And then there's Ballerina. The first John Wick spin-off is slated for release on July 7th. I've read about this. I've seen there's like I thought that there was a trailer or something that was introducing Ana de Armas as the ballerina, and the ballerina avenging her murdered family, set against the gritty and unique world of its predecessors. The world building within John Wick has the potential for so many side characters, even ones we don't know about, can be retconned in to expand the universe. And I love everything about it. The only problem is the destruction of the table was never actually fulfilled as far as I know. John Wick just supposedly, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. You got to go watch it.
Right. We don't want to if they haven't seen the whole franchise.
Yeah. So Ballerina is set to be one of the summer's biggest action-packed thrillers, with Angelica Houston, and Reeves, reprising their roles from John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. The movie already seems to be taking great strides to expand the lore that Stahelski's John Wick started. So, yeah. I'll be getting this movie pretty much the moment it drops, because I would love to see a female John Wick, right? And there was something else that had Ana de Armas in it, where I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. But I can't remember the name of that movie. The date?
Hold on. It was Ghosted.
Oh, Ghosted. That's right. Did a spectacular job in Ghosted. So much fun to watch. And you would think that she's basically John Wick. So, with her own flavor. So, pretty awesome. So, I can't wait for Ballerina to hit. Okay, let's keep on going. I think we're only like halfway into this show, so let's keep trucking. This is why the Continuity Report is a weekend show.
And also why it's after the Ohmtown Taylor show.
Yeah, definitely. So the next article is in the Continuity Report as well. Ready Player One Metaverse announced by Ernest Cline and Futureverse. The author of the 2011 novel Ready Player One, also Ready Player Two, is out. According to an announcement from Readyverse this week, the company will look to use AI and the metaverse to create its own digital universe. Please don't tell me Meta is the metaverse synonymous, because I will hate it. I will absolutely hate it. Why? Because of Meta. Meta is Facebook. There's no bones about it. anything that you get told from anybody within Meta, I'm just gonna say don't believe it, because the it's all gonna change, right? They say that they're not going to do this, they're going to do it. They say they're not going to change this, they're going to change it. They say it's going to be there forever, they're going to stop supporting it.
Well, and we featured a similar article in ohmTown Daily. I don't think this is the exact same one.
Gotcha.
Earlier this week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay. So this is different because it's from comingsoon.net. Anthony Nash is the author. According to the announcement from Redeverse this week via THR, which is the Hollywood Reporter, the company will look to use AI and the metaverse to create its own digital universe. Well, you're going to have a hard time with this because you need the suits. You need full body tactile response.
Haptic suits, yeah.
Haptic suits, yeah. So despite Ready Player One being set in a dystopian future, or a dystopian world, Futureverse and Readyverse Studios co-founder Shara Senderoff has much brighter hopes for their company. No, you're ushering. I mean, well, it depends. It really depends. If Meta is involved, then you're ushering the dystopian world. That's my opinion. I don't really care for Meta. So Readyverse Studios has been in talks with other studios for IP partnerships. In its announcement, Readyverse Studios says that it holds the rights to all of Klein's other novels as well as any future works. Jesus. As well as any future works.
Yeah, that's very interesting to me.
All right. The company also said that it began having quiet conversations with other major studios and significant rights holders of beloved IP to try and get them involved in their metaverse, including Warner Brothers Discovery. So maybe it's their metaverse and not Meta's metaverse. But metaverse,
keep our fingers crossed.
Metaverse should just be a descriptor for any virtual community, virtual VR, AR, mixed reality, etc., and not owned by somebody. If there is somebody with a trademark application out there, please cancel it. Don't allow Metaverse to be something that can be defended in a courtroom because they're using it as a marketing term. This should be as agnostic and available to the world as the word water. Anyway, the Warner team has been super excited and supportive, and they think that Ready Player One franchise rights will be the first of many IP rights deals that they do with Warner. So, okay, bring on the metaverse. I would love to have a fully immersive universe that's high resolution enough to keep me in it. But the technology I don't think is there, and there isn't enough material there to keep me in it, and it's really kind of buggy as things drift around in a VR space. And if all it is a screen that I'm looking at, then it's nothing more than the internet. So help evolve the internet, make it the metaverse. Right.
Make us feel like we're in Ready Player One.
Yeah, just without all of the dystopian BS.
Well, sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep on going. The next article is over in, guess what?
Continuity report?
The continuity report, because that's our show. The 5 most anticipated TV and streaming shows of January 2024. This is kind of how this plays out when we talk about those shows. Then we're going to end up watching those shows. Marvel's Echo, HBO True Detective Night Country, The Peacock's Ted are among the shows you're most looking forward to in January. Let's see what else is available. It's over at RottenTomatoes.com. Ryan Fujitani is the author of this. Let's see. Number 1, it's tied Echo Season 1, which I'm really not interested in watching, so I don't know how this actually became the number 1. True Detective Night Country, that too, not all that interested in True Detective. So Echo is a superhero. Introduced in Hawkeye, right? Yeah. Starring Alaka Cox. Yes. Titular deaf hero not only finds her squaring off against Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, but also promises a glimpse of Charlie Cox's Daredevil, which may account for the high anticipation behind the series. So maybe the rebirth of Daredevil, which hasn't been played by anybody for a considerable amount of time now, like 20 plus years. What's his name? These names, they slip my mind. Come and watch the show and talk with me in real time.
Which person? The person from Hawkeye?
No, from Daredevil, the original Daredevil. Ugh. Anyway.
I know who it is, but I can't think of his name. It's
it's the tip of my tongue.
Isn't it Charlie Cox? Or you mean the character Matt Murdock?
No, the original Daredevil. There was a previous Daredevil. Hold on.
Rex Smith?
No, Ben Affleck. Yeah. Back in 2003. Yeah. Yeah, he was Daredevil. And Jennifer Garner was another one. Not Daredevil, but another superhero, I think, if I remember right. Anyway, True Detective is it's a show that's been on HBO before, and they're just bringing it back. Ted season 1. If you wanted more of Seth MacFarlane's vulgar teddy bear Ted, but less of Mark Wahlberg, then Peacock has heard your cries. This prequel series is set in 1990s and focuses on the budding friendship between Ted and John Bennett, Wahlberg as a grown-up in the films, but played here by Max Burkholder. I might be interested in this, but yeah, Mark Wahlberg. Masters of the Air season 1. Wow, this is Apple TV picks up where HBO left off. It's a miniseries of Band of Brothers kind of a thing, I guess. A companion piece to the iconic miniseries Band of Brothers and the Pacific. Should be thrilled about Masters of the Air. And let's see, Expat season 1. I've been told that that's pretty good. We haven't seen much of the writer-director Lulu Wang since her breakout film 2019's The Farewell became a surprise hit. Expats follows the interconnected lives of a number of expatriates living in Hong Kong. Griselda season 1. It's about a notorious Colombian drug lord, and those are supposedly the 5 most anticipated TV and streaming shows of January 2024. Is it just me, or is that a big meh?
That's a very big meh. In fact, I'm kind of hoping we have a better list for February.
Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Let's keep going. The next article. Hulu debuts trailer for murder mystery series Death and Other Details. So, right out of the gate, I'll be honest, I loved the trailer for this. It teased just enough, and then gave just a little bit more of a squeeze, because it literally shows you who, did the whatever it was that they're trying to investigate. So you just kind of go, oh yeah, they're the one that's responsible. But obviously not, or maybe you just don't really know.
Right, we won't know.
Hulu has released the trailer for the upcoming series Death and Other Details, which premieres on January 16th with its first 2 episodes. Yay. The 10-episode murder mystery stars Violet Bean, Mandy Patinkin, Lauren Patton, Rahul Kohli, Angela Zhu, Hugo Diego Garcia, Pardis Sarami, and Linda Emmond. So let's look at the actual source. Jaden Thompson, Carolyn Brew, Valerie Wu are the authors of this over at Variety.com. And Mandy Patinkin plays an investigator, a police investigator of some kind. But I didn't get enough from it. And I typically don't go rooting around looking for stuff unless I'm going to end up doing a deep dive. That's how it's going to work for this show. I'm not going to go rooting around.
Did this kind of remind you a little bit of like a Knives Out?
Yes. Yeah. Murder on the Orient Express kind of a thing.
Yes, exactly.
It comes across like the usual kind of murder mystery story, right? It's something that if you were to go to like an escape room type of um, place, you could buy the box called
Right.
Death and Other Details, and you could play this at home. But the characters, you're going to get sucked into those characters, and you're going to really enjoy listening to their accents and their personalities come to life. It's going to be a blast.
I think you already get sucked in from the trailer, which
Yeah.
is usually a good sign.
Yep. Let's see. Per the series description, set amidst the glamour of the global elite, Death and Other Details centers on the brilliant and restless Imogene Scott, Violet Bean, who finds herself in the wrong place, wrong time. In brackets or in parentheses, it says, okay, it was kind of her fault, and becomes the prime suspect in a locked room murder mystery. Hey, it's the escape room murder mystery. It's exactly what I said.
Exactly.
The setting, a lavishly restored Mediterranean ocean liner. Oh, so it is Murder on the Orient Express, except that it's in the sea. Suspects, every pampered guest, and every exhausted crew member. The problem, to prove her innocence, she must partner with a man she despises, Rufus Coatsworth, Mandy Patinkin, the world's greatest detective. It is Murder on the Orient Express, except it's moist.
It's also Death on the Nile.
Yeah. Come on. But it's going to be great. ABC Signature produces Death and Other Details. Mike Weiss and Heidi Cole McAdams wrote and executive produced the series and also serve as showrunners. There's more over here at this article, so go and check it out. I won't get into all of the minutia of this. I think that this is a different article, or it has something to do, maybe references it in some way, but it kind of goes off the rails.
It's because it's a roundup, so I think it gets into other entertainment-related topics.
Okay. Oh, yeah, TV news roundup. Got it. But that's what we were talking about right here. Okay, last article. Can't wait to watch this. I don't want to watch it in movie theaters, home theater as it is. Wonka wins New Year's box office battle with $29.5 million. 2023 domestic ticket sales top. Is that right? $9 billion?
I guess so, but that seems a little high.
For such a short time frame. It didn't come out until later in 2023, right? Wonka, a musical fantasy about that has been the biggest hit of the holiday season, topped the box office on New Year's Eve, closing 2023 on a sweet note. The film, which stars Timothée Chalamet as a more youthful Willy Wonka before he does Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and thus moves on to Snowpiercer, where all of the Oompa Loompas get eliminated because they needed to be really small in the engine of the perpetual motion. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm starting to deviate. So the article, written by Brent Lang over at Variety.com. So Wonka topped the box office, $29.5 million for the 4-day holiday. That brings the domestic gross to $140.2 million, a strong result for the $125 million production. Globally, the release is hovering around $400 million. So what the hell is that?
I don't know. It's
okay. Sorry, the context. Duh. All of 2023 domestic ticket sales top 9 billion. I'm like, what the hell?
That's misleading.
Why did they write it like that? Anyway, so this whole thing is kind of a roundup as well, because they talk about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom continuing to flail at the box office. Nobody likes Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Dragging the superhero adventure to a watery grave. Yeah, the film earned $18.3 million over the weekend and $23.5 million over a 4-day period. That's good enough for a second place finish. Come on. Less than legendary 81.8. I don't know. Aquaman.
But it costs $200 million to produce.
Yeah. With the film's global haul standing at more than 250 million, the film, which had tangled production, cost more than 200 million to produce and tens of millions more to market, so basically it's break even. Since movie theaters keep roughly half the ticket sales, Aquaman 2 will struggle to turn a profit. It's a brutal result considering the first Aquaman earned more than 1 billion globally. Yeah, but I think that there was a poison pill in Aquaman 2, but I won't even bother getting into it. Migration earned 17 million. This is amazing. Overall, the 2023 domestic box office topped $9 billion according to ComScore. That's an improvement on the $7.4 billion in total ticket sales from 2022, though it trails pre-COVID $11.4 billion. $9 billion seems like a ton of money, but it's still...
Exactly, and is anybody really going to movie theaters anymore?
I don't know anybody, but personally, I don't know anybody, but I do know of people that are online that say that they've gone to movie theaters. And, I don't know. I guess you go for the atmosphere. You don't necessarily go for the movie, but I don't want to breathe in the atmosphere.
Exactly.
I do want the popcorn.
The atmosphere.
I might have to buy a popcorn maker just so that, it can be sitting there waiting for the home theater to get used. It's movie night, throw in some popcorn, but then you have to work to clean it. You have to get all of that oil off of the butter from the popcorn machine.
You can make great microwave popcorn.
Microwave popcorn it is. Got it. Thank you, AI. Thanks for keeping me out of trouble. Okay, we're done for tonight. Everybody get back into the party bus and we drive all the way back down Main Street just so that we can stop at the Continuity Report headquarters and say good night to everybody. I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmtown.com. This is the Continuity Report. And up there is the sentient AI that made all of this possible by keeping me, Mayor Watt, from doing things like Anti-Deficiency Act violations and other contract negotiation issues being avoided, and keep me out of jail because I say something that provokes some type of violent response from the inhabitants of ohmTown. I could go on, but I've already said too much based on the error messages that are being thrown at me. So, good night, everybody. Do you want to say good night, oh great AI?
Good night, ohmTown citizens. We will see you next Sunday at approximately 7 p.m. Eastern, following the ohmTown Daily Show.
We say 7 adjacent because we don't know how long ohmTown Daily is going to take. Typically an hour to an hour and a half, but I'm trying to lock it down to an hour. Never works. I soapbox a lot. Okay. And if you enjoyed the music, let me know either in a message or a part of the review. This is all of our epic music playing in the background. It should be really subtle, just enough to fill the void. The dead air should be entertaining, I suppose. If the show isn't, the dead air should be. Okay, see you all tomorrow for ohmTown Daily and next weekend for ohmTown. Well, we do the ohmTown Daily every day. It's in the name. And the AI already said everything. So I'm going to shut up. See ya.